chances are you're missing out on creating true happiness for your retirement years. People spend a ton of time figuring out what they're retiring from, but not enough time is spent really honing in on what they're retiring to. People expect that freedom of time equates happiness, but unfortunately, that's often not the case. So if you retire without purpose, regardless of how much money you've accumulated over the years, you may find yourself with a loss of identity. There have been multiple studies out there that have actually shown that people who define their retirement by their own standards, by maybe working a little bit longer, that they actually have, in many different situations, a declined mortality rate. So, tacking on even just 1 year beyond what is traditionally known as the retirement age of 65 has shown that, depending upon good or poor health, can actually have a 9 to 11% decline on that mortality rate. Now, that's something to get excited about and pay attention to. I'm Brittany Anderson, president and partner at Sweet Financial Partners out of Fairmont in Jackson, Minnesota. We believe that every person has the right to realize that their dreams are possible. And we do this through our trademarked Dream Architect process, which is part of what can contribute to really happy retirements. I was speaking recently with a really successful business owner who was talking about their what's next, that next chapter of their life. They had just sold their business. They're looking from the outside in saying, where am I going to go next? What am I going to do? They were thinking that their newfound freedom, that release of the business, the weight being off their shoulders would equate happiness. But the problem is that there was a massive identity loss, down to the sense that people that used to, pick up the phone for them maybe weren't so quick to do that anymore. So the problem here is that they lost their feeling of significance. They lost their feeling of importance. And they were at this breaking point of saying, where do I go from here? What do I do? They felt like they were going to sail off into the sunset and, not really have that fulfilled life that they were hoping would come with that freedom of time, attention, and energy. We've heard, many people over the years say, that's not going to be me. I'm not worried about that. I have the foundation of my family, my faith, my friends, my extracurriculars. I have all that stuff to go to. I'm not worried about it. The problem is that without careful planning, without paying attention to the 5 things that I'm going to talk to you about today, that's more often than not missed. So what happens is people get into these retirement years, this next chapter, this next stage, and they're at a total loss for what to do with their time. The things that they thought would fulfill them only take up maybe a small segment of their time, which they thought would really fill up their life as a whole. So the good news here is that while creating a truly fulfilling and happy retirement may not be easy per se, it's incredibly simple. And it's simple if you follow these 5 key steps that the happiest of people, the happiest of retirees, have been found to master. So the first one being that you want to define the work that you still want to do. Now, this might be a head scratcher because traditionally speaking, retirement in itself means, you're going away from work. You're, I guess by true definition, kind of being put out to pasture. You're not having to worry about things anymore. You're taking it easy. You're coasting. But the problem is that a lot of the high achiever personalities, the high achieving brain is absolutely not sufficed by just being put out to pasture, by leaving the work that was meaningful to them. So one thing that you can do is you can take a step back and say, okay, I'm at a point in my life where work isn't maybe a necessity anymore. Maybe at this point, it's just a nice to have. It's something that can keep you busy, can keep you fulfilled, can keep you fresh. So what you can do is actually go through and start writing down all the things in your current work that you truly enjoy, that you love doing, that you get excited about, that give you that endless energy. So if you start cultivating that list and really looking at the things that fill you up, you may decide that you want to stay working if you could eliminate the things on the other end of the spectrum that stress you out, that drain you, that are a bog on your energy, that don't give you that sense of fulfillment. But until you get intentional and you start actually writing these things down and really discovering what it is that you love doing, it can be a little bit deceiving or misleading when you're making decisions around your future. You think, oh my gosh, now I get to wake up tomorrow and not have to worry about, the stress of my business, the stress of a high profile career, whatever that looks like to you. But instead, maybe you could be even more fulfilled. Maybe you could create even more possibility for your future and still work, but do things that you love. So this is a thing that so many happy retirees, the happiest of retirees, the people who are truly living that fulfilled life, this is something that they're assessing, they're looking at, and they're giving themselves the true gut check assessment of what is it I want to do and what don't I want to do? That can help you make better decisions for your future. Number 2 is making sure that you have the right people in your corner. Now, this means a multitude of things. It means you're surrounding yourself with people who encourage you, who are cheerleaders per se for what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. So if you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of people who are, of the mindset that the best years are behind them and there isn't a whole lot to look forward to anymore. And there aren't any goals or ambitions or things bigger than themselves. That can be a drain on you. The other thing too, with putting the right people in your court, the right people in your corner, is you have something to look forward to. You have people to surround yourself with that give you energy, that get you excited to get out of bed in the morning, that you look forward to seeing and cultivating deeper relationships and spending time with, because you, again, that I word, you've been intentional about who you want to spend your time with. This also applies to your advisors. You want to make sure that as you're making decisions for your future, that you have the right people that are in your corner who you truly trust, who have your best interest at heart, not their own, and that you have that collaborative team of individuals working on your behalf to help you make good decisions for your future. This can be financially, it can be with your legacy, it can be with your overall purpose plan. There's so many different facets of life, especially when you're coming out of career mode, going into something that, again, you enjoy, that's fulfilling, that's fruitful. You want to make sure you've got the right people in your corner helping you make informed decisions. And that brings me to point number 3 that the happiest of retirees are absolutely honing in on. It's that they have people in their corner to help them make truly informed decisions. Not just gut decisions, not just from the head, not just from the heart, but truly informed. So what this means for you is that, you might be at a point in your life now where you're looking at, maybe it's buying a second home. Maybe it's completely uprooting and moving somewhere you've always wanted to live, but for some reason, kids, responsibilities, job, whatever, you've been, in the same location for a long time. Maybe it's taking the trips that you've always wanted to take because you've always said, oh, I'll get to that later. I'll do that at some point. I'll do that down the road. Well, now the road is here. And you're ready and you're going to do some of those things. Maybe it's buying a dream car. Maybe it's funding grandkids' college educations. Maybe it's creating some sort of foundation, whatever it is, whatever's meaningful to you. When you're making big decisions in what we would call the distribution phase of life, you've accumulated up to this point, and now as far as your finances are concerned, you're putting your money to work for you. You are using the money that you've saved to live, to create opportunities. Oftentimes if we have successful business owners or entrepreneurs, they'll want to invest in maybe a friend's company or a kid's company or, something of the like. Well, if you don't have people helping you make informed, guided decisions, you could potentially set yourself up for some regret, for some pain that wasn't necessary, I guess we could say. So what you want to do is make sure that you have the right advisors in line with you to help you make those decisions, because something interesting comes up time and time again. And that is that people often spend way less than what they potentially could spend and still stay true to their plan, versus the opposite of spending too much. So what this means is that they haven't necessarily done the planning that's required to help them make good informed decisions. So if you're thinking about this from your perspective, if you sat down with your financial advisor and they said, hey, based on the goals you've set, based on all the things you've said you wanted to do, accomplish, the life expectancy, all of those good things that are put in place, if they looked at you and said, hey, you have an extra $30,000 a year, $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, whatever that looks like for you, because each situation is so different. But if they looked at you and said that, then you get to start having fun and deciding, what are you going to do with that money? What could that money do for you, for your future, for your family, for your legacy? But again, oftentimes people err too far on the side of caution because they don't have somebody helping them make informed decisions. The truly happy retiree, the one that's fulfilled, that's delegated this stuff away so they don't have to stress about it, have people in their corner doing that for them. So point number 4, for the happiest of retirees, they're getting back to the basics. And what that means is they are redefining what their value system is, what that means to them. So for example, if you've decided that you want to pick up and move, you want to try living somewhere else, you've lived in the same spot for so long, but when you get to the core of your true value alignment, your values lie with your family, with maybe your extended family, like kids, grandkids. Maybe you're in close proximity currently to those people. If that's an underlying value and you're making a rash decision to move across the country just to try something different, it can be, let's just call it not very long lasting. So you want to make sure that you're getting to the core of what's truly important. And again, you might be sitting here thinking, well, I know what's important to me. I get that. You would be surprised at how many people make those rash decisions because they haven't truly spent the time prioritizing their value system, getting to the core of what's really meaningful versus kind of scratching the surface and saying, these are some of the things in general that I want to do, the people I want to be around, et cetera, and so forth. Another example here is, and we've seen this happen more often than not, where one person, a spouse in a relationship, one person values travel and experiences and seeing new things and taking in, as many different sites as possible. And the other spouse does not like travel. They don't enjoy being gone. They want to be in their home. That's their definition of an ideal retirement. So again, the happiest of retirees are having these tough conversations, getting on the same page, and then being proactive so that both needs can be met. So for example, if you are the spouse that loves travel, loves experiences, you could then align yourself with maybe it's friends, maybe it's previous colleagues from your industry who enjoy the same things. So you get that fulfillment, but then you're also allowing your spouse to thrive in the environment that they love most. So it's that happy medium, and it's that connection, bringing things together to have those important conversations that are truly helping people create fulfillment and not feeling like one person is held back over the other. This is a really, really important exercise to go through in identifying the values. You can actually go to mysweetfinancial.com, and there are resources in there that'll help you in an organized fashion, completely free, but resources that can help you identify those values and get to the core of what is most important so you can start making those good informed decisions for your future. And then last but not least, the 5th tip is to fill and feed your mind and your body with new information, with uplifting things, with good positive experiences. Don't fall into the trap of letting things kind of go by the wayside and sitting and watching the negative news and feeding your brain and going into that scarcity mindset. this is something that is so important. And the happiest, the most successful retirees, success by their definition of fulfillment, they're not allowing those scare tactics, those negative media stints and whatever else to negatively impact their mindset. So make sure you're feeding yourself with positive. You're putting, good motivating things in front of you so that you wake up excited and happy versus fearful and scared. So if you want more of what it takes to create a truly successful retirement, go check out the 3 challenges retirees face, the other video on our YouTube channel. Go check that video out so that you can continue exploring how to have the most fulfilling and successful retirement by avoiding some of the challenges that others have faced. Like I said before, we believe that every person has the right to create and realize that their dreams are possible. We want you to get there as well. So again, hop on over to mysweetfinancial.com for a plethora of free resources, and be sure to subscribe to our channel and make sure that you get all of the latest content that drops right here.